You know that feeling on a scorching hot day when you walk into a cool room? It's just the best. But here's a thought. What if I told you your air conditioner doesn't actually create cold at all? It sounds kind of crazy, but it's true. The real story is way more interesting. Your AC is actually a heat moving machine. Its whole job is to physically grab heat from inside your house and dump it outside. So let's think about it this way. Your AC isn't a cold maker. It's waging a relentless war against heat. Every single second it's running, it's fighting to pull that uncomfortable, sticky heat out of your space. And once you understand that battle, you'll understand exactly how this amazing technology works. To get it, though, we first need to see the battlefield where this war against heat actually happens. It's a really clever system split into two very distinct zones of action. Now, for most homes, we're talking about a split system, and you can see that clear division right here. You've got the indoor unit, which is called the evaporator. Its whole job is to absorb heat from the air inside. Then you've got the outdoor unit, the condenser, and its mission is to get rid of that very same heat, just ejecting it into the outside world. They're two halves of the same team connected by a couple of copper tubes. Okay, so we've got our battlefield. But every great story needs a hero, right? Someone who does all the heavy lifting. In this story, our hero is a pretty remarkable chemical. Let me introduce you to the refrigerant. This stuff is basically the lifeblood of your AC, constantly flowing through those copper pipes. Its superpower is its ability to change from a liquid to a gas and then back again, super easily. And this whole thing works because of one simple rule of physics. When a liquid turns into a gas, when it evaporates, it sucks up a ton of heat. And when that gas turns back into a liquid, when it condenses, it releases all that heat. That's it. That's the entire magic trick right there. So let's follow our hero on its journey, starting with its first big mission, which happens right there inside your home.
Okay, so this first step, you can think of it as the sponge. Inside that indoor unit, a fan is pulling in your warm room air and blowing it across these coils filled with super cold, low-pressure liquid refrigerant. As that warm air hits the coils, the refrigerant acts like a heat sponge, just soaking it all up. All that new heat energy causes the refrigerant to boil and evaporate, turning it into a gas. And the air that comes out the other side? Well, it just had all its heat stolen, so it's now nice and cool.
So our refrigerant has just pulled off the heist. It's absorbed its payload of heat, but now it's got to take it somewhere. As a low-pressure gas, it travels through an insulated copper line, making its way from the indoor unit, through your walls, and out toward the outdoor unit. It's become a heat courier. All right, let's head outside for the second half of this mission. Our hero has captured the enemy heat, and now it's time to banish it for good. This is where the engineering gets really, really cool. That refrigerant gas flows into the compressor, which is basically the heart of the whole system. The compressor does exactly what its name says. It squeezes that gas, putting it under incredible pressure. And when you do that, the molecules slam into each other and the temperature just skyrockets, making the gas even hotter than the air outside. You might be wondering why. Well, heat only ever moves from a hot thing to a colder thing. So to dump heat outside on a 95-degree day, that refrigerant has to be hotter than 95 degrees. And here's the release. That big fan on the outdoor unit starts spinning, blowing the surrounding air across the coils that are now filled with this superheated gas. And because the gas is so much hotter than the air, its heat energy just pours out into the atmosphere. As it loses all that heat, the refrigerant condenses back into a high-pressure liquid. It's like wringing out that heat sponge, dumping all the heat it soaked up from inside your house right into your backyard. The final step before this whole journey starts all over again is the reset. We've got this high-pressure liquid, and it gets forced through a tiny, narrow opening called an expansion valve. When it shoots out the other side into a much larger pipe, the pressure instantly drops. And when the pressure drops, the temperature plummets right along with it. Just like that, our hero is a cold, low-pressure liquid again, ready to head back inside and absorb even more heat. So we've walked through all of the individual steps. Now let's just zoom out and see how this all comes together into one continuous, really elegant loop. And there it is, the whole cycle in one picture. Inside, it absorbs heat. Then it gets compressed into a super hot gas. Then it goes outside to reject that heat. And finally, it resets to get cold again. Absorb, compress, reject, reset. That loop just keeps going over and over as long as your AC is running. And what's really cool is that this same basic idea works for any kind of AC. A ductless mini split has these separate indoor and outdoor boxes we've been talking about. A window unit, it just crams that entire cycle, the compressor, the condenser, all of it into one single box. The physics are exactly the same, it's just a different physical layout. Okay, so now that you get the amazing engineering that's going on, let's talk about the simple but absolutely critical role that you play in making sure this whole mission is a success. You see, this whole incredible system has one major weakness: airflow. Remember our heat sponge indoors? It needs a constant flow of your warm room air to absorb heat from. But if the air filter gets clogged with dust and gunk, the fan just can't pull enough air through. And without that warm air, the evaporator coils get so cold that the moisture in the air literally freezes solid onto them. They turn into a block of ice, and the whole cycle just grinds to a halt. So, if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this: clean or replace your air filters regularly. Seriously, it is the single most important thing you can do to make sure that Heat Sponge can always breathe and our hero can keep doing its job. So the next time you're just relaxing in your cool house and you hear that gentle hum of the air conditioner kicking on, you'll know exactly what you're hearing. It's not the sound of making cold. It's the sound of a battle being won against heat. It's the sound of physics and engineering working together to move energy. It is the sound of thermodynamics and